Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is Dr. Jacalyn's Book Club, and I'm extremely excited to give my book review on this incredible book. The title is Dementia, Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After, and it's by TRACY CRAM Perkins. And TRACY was a guest on our show, Aging Gracefully with Humor, and she was sharing what was the motivation for this book with myself and with Kathy Fulton, my co-host and friend. And I just was really drawn into the fact that she has been a caregiver for someone, a loved one with dementia, 4 different times. And if you're not familiar with what dementia is or Alzheimer's, you can find out in this book. I'm going to be showing you some of the pages of things that really stood out to me. So the first thing I'd like to say is that I highly recommend this book. And I really feel like it's the way that it's laid out, the way the pages are, the fonts, the size of the book is really quite attractive, and it's easy to read through. So this, of course, is a time in life when if someone has dementia in your family or friends, it's a very difficult time. So you don't want to have a book that's difficult to read. So kudos to TRACY for making this really easy to read and understand. I'd also like to say, I want to start in the back of the book. There's an incredible amount of resources and references. I'm going to take you to there now. I was very impressed with that. And myself, having a doctorate, having to do a doctoral dissertation, it is really important to have peer-reviewed articles and resources. So on page 215, the resources start, and can't get it quite there, but you can see that there's a multitude of websites and all kinds of information: assisted living, adaptive clothing, advanced directives. And then there's another section with notes and more resources. This is on page 228. So to me, this is a sign of someone who did their due diligence, really put a lot of effort and thought into it. She could have just written a book based on her own experience, obviously surviving someone with dementia 4 times, caregiving as someone, not she didn't survive dementia, but as a caregiver to 4 loved ones. That in of itself is worthy of a book. But to actually take the time to get the resources and do the research, as opposed to just, hey, I saw this on Google, that really means a lot. So once again, TRACY, great work. So the book really is a manual for so many questions that we all have. And the question that comes up many times is, what is dementia? What is Alzheimer's? Or there are different types of dementia. So TRACY actually outlines this very well. And this is on page 9, and I'll share this with you, chapter 3. And you'll see there's a box. What's covered in this chapter? This is fantastic. It makes it so easy to just page through and, okay, what are healthcare directives for dementia? It's covered right here in chapter 3. And I also like that she really specifies in case you're having additional questions. It's almost like she's in your mind reading. Dementia is a symptom of something, not a diagnosis of a disease. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. Dementia is a loss of mental powers severe enough to interfere with your daily living. Very powerful. Okay, here's something that really resonated as well. This is on page 14. Whoops. knowing your own limitations before you make the decision for care. So, as I have no expertise in terms of dementia from a physician standpoint, it is challenging to know whether or not you have what it takes to do what's necessary. And of course, we may not even know what it's going to take. So, this book actually lays out what you can expect. So, one thing that I read in here that I thought was really interesting is this sentence in and of itself. If you are considering becoming the caregiver for your loved one, remember they no longer will be the person you remember. So it's almost like there's a grieving process where that person was your parent, your sibling, someone in your family, a friend, and now that relationship that you have with that person has drastically changed. And it's almost like you have this incredible loss that you now have to deal with in addition to being the caregiver. And as the caregiver, you are really the safe zone. You're the cheerleader, as I think Tracy mentioned. You're the cheerleader for that person. You're the one keeping them safe. And even though their behavior may not allude to the fact that they appreciate it, that is the role that you're taking on. So do you have what it takes? And maybe in some cases, there's not really a choice. Maybe you are the person who is going to be doing this because that's what the situation is. And I like how she also outlines that you can be a caregiver regardless of where you are. You don't have to be in the same home with the person. There's all different ways to be a caregiver and to be supporting that person. All right, let's move on. There's so many sections in here that I have outlined. Locking up the following items in your home. This is on page 84. I mean, this is something you probably wouldn't even think of. Alcohol, bathroom items like toothpaste, shampoo, soap, perfume, lotion, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, cleaning and household products, foods like spices, sugar, and salt. If you see that person putting too much on the food, gasoline cans and other weapons, guns and other weapons like scissors, knives, power tools. Hide plastic bags, they may be a choke hazard to someone with AD. Prescriptions and over the counter medicines, remove poisonous plants. Things that you just take for granted, plants, for example, or cleaning items, toothpaste, shampoo, really valuable information. All right, moving on. This is a really important topic. The meltdown trigger list. This is on page 102. And again, I love the fact that that box is there. I'll just read a little of this. To reduce additional causes for aggression and other behaviors, check for the following. What is her body language saying? Is she raising her voice? Is her voice shaking? Is her face red? Are her hands shaking? Has she traveled recently? Is she exhausted or sick? Has she started a new medication? Drug interactions and side effects can cause new or different behavior worsening of symptoms, as can underlying health issues. Is there a new person or pet in the environment? Are you doing something outside your normal routine? So these are all great questions. And then there's follow-up questions. What is the date? What is the day of week? Just wonderful things that are important to keep in mind when you are taking care or caregiving someone with dementia. Okay. Moving on. And by the way, I'm not going to be reading through the whole book because I want you to buy the book. This is definitely worth the investment because this is information that is incredibly valuable. Imagine the amount of time you'd have to spend looking for this information yourself. Okay, so we're going to chapter 12, personal care. And this really is something that resonates. It's about bathing and toileting. And as a person, as a human being, we all want that level of respect. You know, we've been bathing ourselves for our whole lives in most cases, and now all of a sudden we're not able to do it. And there's that embarrassment, the humiliation, probably I would imagine anger, and then also forgetting. Did the person already shower? They think they did, but they actually didn't. And then when you try to get them to take the shower, they might be opposed to doing it because they have an underlying fear. And that fear could be an underlying fear of water or modesty. There's so many things that it could be. So in this particular area, Tracy highlights modesty garments for bathing and toileting. One of the reasons an AD sufferer might refuse to bathe is the embarrassment of being seen naked. The honor guard is a modesty garment that can be used to cover private parts during dressing and bathing. Now, this is something that I had no idea about. She also lists a website here, dignityrc.org, and telephone number 844 678 4698. So, in reading this book, it really makes you feel that you are not going crazy yourself as the caregiver, because you may be witnessing things that just don't make any sense to you. You start questioning yourself, maybe you get angry at the other person. It's all laid out here in this book. You're not going crazy. These things do happen. They happen on a regular basis. And here's how you can deal with it. And I know for many of you, if you're in this situation, you may feel that there are certain things that trigger you to get angry or to react to the other person, causing them even more upsetment. So how to deal with that is also in here. How to set up the bathroom is also in here. Things that we take for granted that to the other person, maybe their eyesight is changing. And from what I read in here, as the disease progresses, they have more of tunnel vision. They can't even see the things on either side. Tips about that in here as well. Moving forward, grooming. Bathing, grooming, about the person being able to live with dignity. And in cases, many cases, the person might not want to shave anymore. Maybe they're not taking a bath, and maybe they're not brushing their teeth. What do you do about it? Do you let it just go on? Do you force them? Do you physically restrain them and have them do, and you do it for them? You can learn so much more here in this book. I don't have the answers. Okay, I love this section, chapter 13, What's for Dinner? Former restaurant owner Kathy Russell created easy to prepare recipes for her parents when they began the journey of cognitive decline. So right here, there's a whole chapter with recipes in it. And there's that fabulous box that tells us exactly what's in there. And it's laid out what to do week 1, week 2, color contrasting the dishes. How about that? Dishes of certain color, bibs, smocks, aprons. I remember Tracy saying during the show that you can give your loved one an apron. You don't want to give someone a bib. I hope I'm getting this right. But everyone in the family wears the apron because it's fun. Right now you're in the kitchen. You're part of the whole process. It's like a family event instead of excluding that person and making them feel left out. So there's some great recipes in here. There's shopping lists, and I'll just highlight a few of the recipes. This one sounds amazing. I'm going to make this myself. Pesto chicken pasta. I personally love pesto. So anything with pesto is good for me. Easy chicken pot pie. Shepherd's pie, meatloaf, and baked potatoes. Fabulous. Okay, let's move on. As the disease starts to progress, and of course, nobody wants to have these really difficult conversations. What are the end of life care goals? And this is on page 169. So there's a lot of great information here. This stage of care becomes an emotional roller coaster, second guessing yourself, not sleeping, and constant worry, in addition to juggling work and family life, trying to balance your loved one's wishes with your own emotional needs, and not having the skill set to handle the additional burden of care can be exhausting for any family member. And there's also information in here about the family in general. Maybe each family member has a different idea of how things should be handled, how the finances should be handled, how the home care should be handled. So you actually have to get on the same page or accept the fact that maybe you're not going to get on the same page, and what can you do that's in the best interest of your loved one? It's always about that. It's about the loved one. It's not about you, but you have to have self-care as well. And that's in here too, about the fact that when you give and give and give, but you're not actually refueling your own tank, you're not going to be of value or of service to your loved ones. So you have to remember that. And I believe there's a certain amount of guilt involved with that, because how can you take time away from that person and in that case, maybe you have to bring someone else in and for that period of time, and that can be very upsetting to your loved one. So what do you do about that? Chapter 18, long-term care options, paying for care, types of care facilities, continuing care at home. Tracy has covered every possible question that we have. And also she mentions how important it is to laugh, to find things to laugh about, to get your loved one laughing instead of allowing them to stay in a dark place for an extended period of time. So I have to say once again that this book is absolutely fantastic. It is sort of a Bible, I would say. And I have brought up Tracy's website. Let's take a look at it. You can actually go and buy the book right there. And I really encourage you to do that because you will have so much more peace of mind. I have to say, as I was reading the book, and you can see it here, hopefully, a lot of things were coming up in reading the book, in that nobody wants to think about somebody they love going downhill or starting to decline. And yet, if it happens, it's out of our control. So we have to do the best that we can, but many times we don't know what that is. This book outlines what you can do. So here's the website. It's TRACY CRAM PERKINS. You can see it right there. By the way, she dedicated this book to her father. I just want to read that. This book was written in 2021, by the way. This is the dedication. This book is dedicated to my father, Eldon, who taught me how to rebuild my first car, who taught me how to fish, and who could never convince me vanilla ice cream was the ultimate flavor because you secretly loved strawberry, and who continued to teach me up until the very end. Thank you for the time you spent with me and for asking the question. I have Alzheimer's, not the plague. What will it take to be treated like a human being? That's all I'm asking. Right there from her dad. Gives me the chills. All right, let me go over here to the website and page down so that you can see what's on here. So here is an interview where Tracy was featured on WFSB TV Connecticut. And here, 7-minute read. She shares a story about how the dementia care story started with a phone call. There she is with her dad, asking the questions, what are they doing, how things went from bad to worse, lobbying to bring him home, the dementia care crash course. I mean, just a wealth of information. And then there's also over here, free 10 steps to calming aggressive dementia behavior. So right there, resources. You can contact Tracy here, upcoming events, resources, all of her interviews are here. And then of course you can buy the book. So it's available everywhere. You can go over to Amazon. You can get it, I'm sure, in the local bookstores. But Tracy, if you're out there watching, maybe you can let us know if it's in all the bookstores or if it's specifically, it says available everywhere. So I know I've got my copy. So that is my book review for today. And I have to just say again, how quickly things happen in life, specifically with symptoms of dementia. I just have to give a shout out to Kathy Fulton for bringing Tracy to this platform. And then I reached out to Tracy, connected with her right away, and grateful to my sister who actually purchased a copy of the book as well. So 2 copies of this book in our family. And just, you never know where one connection can lead you to. So this is the book review for today. I'm asking for you to go and pick up your copy. And in addition, reach out to somebody. People are lonely. People are confused. Things are very difficult for many people across the world. But just knowing that someone cares, just knowing that you took the time to say hello, how are you, or anything, just a pleasantry, just a compliment can really change a person's entire day and give them hope that they didn't have before. So once again, please pick up this book, Dementia Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After by Tracy CRAM PERKINS. Do check out her website, which is her name, Tracy CRAM PERKINS. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry that we have a little bit of a, there we go from the windows. I will be back later today with my Talking Heads segment. My Talking Heads segments are thank you to the motorcycles, are about how to start your own business. And last week we looked at decisions and we looked at commitment. This week, we'll be looking at what are the actual steps that you take to start your business. So thank you so much for being here. And if you have a book you'd like me to review, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. Contact us. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Kathy Fulton. Bye for now.